Hello, hello, hello. Oh, it seems like the crew is in the house. Oh my goodness. It seems like I can never get on before 5 after 3. I don't know what I try. If I try earlier, it's still I don't get on till then. Maybe I should start trying at 2:45. But anyhow, I am glad you're here. I am feeling like I have a new lease on life, and I'm going to share it with you and how I am. Let me make sure I got my phone and stuff over here so I can keep up with what is going on. But let me say hello to folks. Hi, Martina, first in the house. One of my great moderators is here faithfully. Sheila, I'm going to call you right after the live. So hang on. I will call you after the live. I meant to call you back earlier in the week, and I just things got a little crazy. But Sheila, I will call you back. Jess, Pups, and everyone tonight are the afternoon. Yes, I'm having a great day. And I want to share some things with you and some changes I'm making and have made. And I don't know if you saw, I don't know if it even got posted. Let me see the thumbnail. I was having a difficult time getting my thumbnail up for this live. But I am just changing some things about how I'm going about life. This sabbatical, I'm going to call it a sabbatical, but this leave that I have taken from YouTube has just it has really given me a new perspective and a new outlook, and an outlook that um an outlook on how to improve my life, still get enjoyment out of my life, do things to help people, but take better care of myself. And I have not felt this good in a long, long, long time. And I don't know if you guys can see that I'm just refreshed, relaxed, and but let me tell you some of the things. After I greet some people, I'll tell you some of the things. And I've been listening to a lot of encouraging words and encouraging messages that have just really, I've been filling and feeding, I guess, feeding my soul. But anyhow, Marta, Sheila, hello. Who else is? Hey, Caroline, how are you? Um, who else is here? Paul, hi, Paul, how are you? From Australia. Okay, Paul. Stella Wonders and Wanders says, let's learn how to take our life back. Whew, absolutely. Let's learn how to take our life back. And I'm a novice at this. I will be the first to admit I'm a beginner, but I'm taking it one step at a time, putting one foot in front of the other, and little by little taking my life back. And taking that break from YouTube really was a huge part of it. But hey, Vons, hello, Vons, another one of my great moderators, another member in the house, Liddell. Hey, Liddell, it's been a minute, hasn't it? Yes, I'm glad to see you back in the live. Oh, it's so good to see you. Miss Net, a great moderator in the house. Nora, another one. Hey, all my primo folks are here today. Oh my goodness, everyone's saying hello. Hi, Christy. How's it going? I'm trying to think anyone else. Everyone's greeting everyone. Liddell says, the title today definitely hits home with me. I've been in a transition for 4 months, finally have a resolution in sight. Well, if anyone wants to come on and talk about if you are going through a transition, reclaiming your life, one of the things in doing it, and I'm just going to say this and then greet everyone and come back, is pruning your life and getting out some of the dead weight, because sometimes we have dead weight that pulls us down, just like pruning a tree. We have to get the old out so the new can spring up. And that's what I've been doing, not in a brutal way, but just recognizing that and I'm not calling people and say, hey, you're gone, I'm pruning you out, but I'm just pulling away, backing away from some people, situations that have been taking more out of me than I should be giving. But we'll get to that. But let me see if I can hold on. I want to see if I can do a copy over here to um paste. All right, I'm putting up a a link. So if any of my regulars, if you're new, I have to get to know you a little bit. But if you're one of my regulars, hit that link. And if you want to talk about some ways that you are reclaiming your life, and Liddell, if you want to come in and talk about that, I would love for you to do that. Hey, Catherine, fabulous 60s. Hello, Patty's in the house from Missouri. Oh my goodness. Hello, hello. Uh um, Nora says my keyboard was acting weird. Well, hopefully you get it oh, you rebooted the phone. Okay. Catherine says, Miss Net, thank you so much. I just recorded another video today to be released Monday morning. Okay, well, everyone go over and check out Catherine Fabulous 60s new video that's going to be coming out Monday. Uh uh Miss Net said she hasn't watched Catherine's latest video, but she already has up, but she will go over and see it. All right, all right, all right. Who else is in here? I know. Nora, my earrings are matching today. I made a little effort to try to. I actually looked at my earrings before I put them both on today. For those of you who don't know what that's about, last week I came on, I had two orange earrings on, but they were completely different earrings. I just saw a color orange, grabbed two, put them in, and then I got up here and I was looking and I thought, how come one earring looks longer than the other? And as I'm looking, I'm like, oh my gosh, I've got two different earrings on. I know that was funny, wasn't it? Hey, Jessica. Hello, hello. Aloha from Honolulu. Oh my gosh, I love Hawaii and I love Honolulu. That's one I know a lot of people like going out to Kauai and way out, Maui and way out. I like those places too, but I love me some Oahu. Oh, just getting on the beach there. I have the best what's the drink? Oh, lava flow. Oh my gosh, that's the best drink ever, called a lava flow. Um, who else is in the house? I digress, but I love Oahu, so welcome into the house. Uh Thank you, Marta. Thank you. I always forget. Hit that like button if you would, folks. It helps the algorithm. Jojo. Hey, hello, Jojo. Jessica is saying aloha to you all again. Brenda. Hey, Brenda. Uh from where are you from? Brenda Owen Visuals. Okay. You know you're doing the right thing when you feel so good, inspiring. Oh, I'm feeling good. I am feeling good, I tell you. Who else is in the house? Billy Clover. Hello. Hello. You made it today. I'm glad you did make it. Oh my goodness. Muskegee Land watching. Good to see you. Good to see you. Oh my goodness. Who's that? Gregory Smith. Hi, Greg. How are you? Carla's in the house, and everyone's saying hello. Oh my goodness. I love it when you guys say hello to everyone and greet everyone and make everyone feel welcome, especially newcomers. Catherine says, who hasn't put on mix match earrings? I put on mix match everything. Jackie, give me a call. I want to talk to you. Do you said you have a new number, so I don't think my old number will work, but Jackie, give me a call because I want to talk to you about your channel and doing some things with getting it going now that I'm getting back in the groove. So do give me a call, or better yet, Jack, if you don't have my number, because if you change numbers, you might not have your contacts. Just hit me up at my email, Jackie, and so we can communicate. Who else is here? Jackie says, I just left a great high school softball game. My high school won. Oh, undefeated. That is very cool. Very cool. Brenda says, I'm from Syracuse, New York. Okay. All right. I love New York too. Oh my goodness. Martin said, Hawaii had a 6.0 earthquake Friday on the Big Island. I had not heard that. I did not know that. Oh my goodness. Uh let's see. Thanks for dropping the link, Miss Net, for Catherine. Okay, thanks, Jackie. Make sure I still have your right number. Hi, Elsa, how are you? Good to see you. Vaughn says, Martin One, have you ever watched the live stream of the earthquakes all across the U.S.? There are so many every few minutes, it seems. Well, I remember, I don't know about you guys, they made a movie about the one in Thailand that hit that resort and all that whole resort just, oh, so many people died, and they made that movie about the doctor and her family. I don't know if you saw that movie, but it was quite compelling and scary and really scary. Um, Muskegee Land says in maybe for a future show, there is a massive food crisis developing over summer because of lack of nitrogen due to the Iran war. This will affect nomads. This is real, and California might be good. Now, when you say the you're talking about the nitrogen in the fertilizer, is that what you're talking about, Muskegee Land? Um, and the food crisis, is it in California? Are you, because California produces so much of the fruits, vegetable, the produce for the country, for their entire country? Let me see how much. Let me. Don't you love that you can just look up stuff and get an answer right away? Let me see. Let me see. Um, how much of the country's produce does California grow? Let's see. California produces over one
California
third.
produces a large share of the nation's food. It grows over one-third of the country's vegetables and more than three-quarters of its fruits and nuts. California is the
Wow.
primary.
California grows over three-quarters of the nation's fruits and nuts, and it says about a third of the vegetables. So that's significant. When you say this is real and California might be good, are you talking about I don't know. If California grows a huge percentage and the farmers can't get the fertilizer and the nitrogen, I don't know. So can you explain that a little bit, Muskegee Land? But I will check into that. That is interesting. Let me take a picture of that. That's an interesting thing to bring up, and I love it when you guys give me ideas, great ideas for content. And some of you have given me some amazing ideas for content. But so I will look at that. But I think what I can see is there being um crises because of the cost of diesel fuel. And as I think I talked last week or maybe a week or so before that, much and most of, from what my research, most of the refrigerated products that go into our grocery stores are transported using diesel fuel in the vehicles, in the trucks. So with the cost of diesel, I can see where some truckers may be going out of business, and where the price of foods are going to be so high that it's going to be a problem affording them. And also, as food gets higher and higher and higher, I would imagine that food banks would have less food. I don't know. What do you guys think? This is just me speculating. This is not, I have not researched that, but I would think as food gets higher, less would be donated and more would be used and even sold at a discount, perhaps in stores. I don't know. What do you guys think? Um, but we'll see. We'll see. Martin says yes, talking about earthquakes and volcanoes. Yeah, Muskegee. That's what I thought you meant, fertilizer. But when you say California is good, might be good, what do you mean California might be good? Because wouldn't they use the same amount of fertilizer or even more in California, since there's so many more crops than they do in the rest of the country? Just wondering. But yeah, I've been hearing about fertilizer for a long time. Fertilizer, diesel, those are two of the main things impacting farming and impacting the origin of getting the food grown, and then impacting the transport of that food once it is ready to go to market. So yeah, that I can see it. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out. And how many of you guys think that this war is going to end by June? I mean, do you think it'll end before this summer, or do you think it's going to drag out? I don't really know. I'm at a total loss. I'll admit that. But um, but yeah, Catherine, I've been hearing about that too for quite a while. Liddell says, I am reclaiming my life for sure, made many changes, including letting go of some relationships. That's what I'm talking about, Liddell, doing some pruning. It is even when you cut your hair, the dead ends off. Every new growth at some point needs some pruning to stimulate and allow the new growth to come forth. And that includes in our lives, in our relationships, in our situations, in some of our behaviors we need to prune. But Liddell further says, I feel calm and uh, happy now more than in a long time. I'm getting to a living environment the best. I am so happy to hear that, Liddell. And you're corresponding with the same thing, some of the same things I'm doing. One of the things that I'm doing in claiming my life back, some things that I have been tolerating, including from some of the people who are closest to me, I'm no longer tolerating. I'm saying this is unacceptable. I'm not willing to accept it. And if this is how you are going to continue to move in and around me, you can no longer be around me. So yeah, I'm really, there's some really great books on boundaries that a person by the name of looking up this again. Hold on. But it's a book. Hold on. I have a hard time multitasking here, talking to you guys and looking up stuff. But it's called Boundaries. Um, there's a whole series. It's called, he has boundaries in dating, boundaries on just a whole series on setting boundaries. And the author of that book is what's the book that I'm talking about? Hold on. I think it's a Dr. Claude, but he has a series of books on boundaries, and it's even boundaries in relationships for parents. um and it's Harry Cloud. Harry Cloud, one of the books, Boundaries, is when to say yes, when to say no, to take control of your life. It's an excellent, excellent book, and I strongly recommend it. And, you know, sometimes we have a difficult time setting boundaries with people who may have been in our life for a long time, long friendships, long relationships. They've gradually expanded their scope and have taken um, liberties that really we should not have allowed, but we have because of the duration of the friendship or the relationship. And setting those boundaries, once you've let, it's I guess like it's when a river overflows its banks, it's hard to get it back under control. Well, when a relationship or friendship overruns its banks, people get used to certain things and they become entitled. They become entitled to treating you a certain way and they think it's their right. And when you go to restrict that and say, no, 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 this has gotten out of whack, we got to get back into these bounds, they resist. And sometimes, you know, the resistance is such that they're not willing to change. And that's when you have to say, okay, then if you're not willing to get back in order because you're out of order, you're out of your lane, then I'm going to have to back away from this relationship. But I'm so happy to hear that you're doing some of that, Liddell. And yes, your life will be infinitely better when you are able to reinforce those boundaries, including cutting people out that have to go. Miss Net says, oh, wow, I didn't know that about California. Yeah, California produces a huge, huge amount, especially in the Central Valley. And when you're driving through the Central Valley on the 5, you see all kinds of signs about water because water is an issue there. And in certain areas, they limit the water, and that has become a battle. The water for the crops and things. But yeah, and that's why when you I have gone to other states and gone in grocery stores and the produce looks so terrible. I'm like, "Oh my goodness." And I'm like, "Is this just normal, or am I just so used to when I go into, say, a grocery, just a regular grocery store, even or a Costco or a Trader Joe's or just even a grocery outlet? I mean, I see it in abundance of amazing fruits and vegetables and everything. And we're right next to Mexico, so we get a lot of tomatoes and avocados and things from there. So, and it's fresh and it's, you know, it just looks beautiful. And then I go to other states and it's like, it looks like it's been wilted and it looks like it's been on the shelf for like a month or so. And I guess we're just spoiled here because we do have some beautiful, beautiful produce. Muskegee Land says it will affect the country. California might fare better because of the climate. Well, how would the I'm a little puzzled. How would the climate make California fare better if they're using fertilizer and fertilizer is the issue? How do fertilizer and the climate intersect? I'm not saying they don't. I just don't understand that. Um, uh, I don't know. Let me know. Uh, Muskegee Land says places like Oklahoma will be greatly affected. Well, I would think areas that are growing, that have lots of farmland, that have tremendous tornadoes, and we've seen the tornado alley seemingly expand right before our eyes. I would say, yeah, if there's tornadoes coming through, more regularly and in expanded areas, yeah, that definitely would have an impact. Martin says we get nitrogen from Canada, Russia, and Qatar. I didn't know that. I knew. Now I thought we got nitrogen from Ukraine. Hold on, let me see. But maybe we get it, or doesn't Ukraine get its nitrogen? I mean, doesn't Russia get its nitrogen from Ukraine? Hold on. Where are the biggest sources of nitrogen originated from that go into fertilizer? Let's see.
The primary source of nitrogen for fertilizers comes from the Earth's atmosphere. However, natural gas is essential for converting that nitrogen into a usable.
I didn't ask the right question. What country sells the largest quantities of nitrogen for fertilizer?
Russia sells the most nitrogen fertilizer worldwide, exporting over 7 million metric tons annually. China, however, is the largest producer, manufacturing over 30 million.
Okay, well, it says China is the biggest producer of fertilizer and Russia sells the most. So it would sound like, based on that, I thought it was from Ukraine, but I know Ukraine is very valuable, has a lot of valuable other minerals, but it sounds like China produces the most, and if Russia is selling the most, Russia must be, I would assume, getting a large supply since they're allied with China from China, which if we do not have a good relationship with Russia, yeah, that could impact us. We'll see. We'll see. I wonder. Brenda says the war will likely drag out. That's very, very likely because it doesn't sound like Iran is really that interested in negotiating, or I don't know, but you hear so many different takes on it, that Iran is suffering, that their economy is going down the tubes, that they can't last much longer. Then Iran comes back and says we're fine. And then who here's the thing. How do you know who to believe? I don't know who to believe anymore. I really truly don't know who to believe anymore. Um I just know this, that I'm stocking up on things that I really need and want to have. I am trying to do that little by little. Um Miss Net says, Muskegee Land says corn, soybeans, and wheat. Okay. Miss Net says, honestly, I don't see this war ending anytime soon. That's what I'm afraid of too, Miss Net. Cindy says, no fertilizer is needed if they don't have the water needed to grow the food. Has nothing to do with the war. Well, yeah, it does have to do with the war. If you can't get the fertilizer, I mean, let's just say you have the water, but if you don't have the fertilizer, you're going to have a hard time growing. And that's, well, I'm just saying, Cindy, based on what I hear from farmers, what I hear in reports and interviews with farmers is they talk about the fertilizer and they talk about the cost of diesel to run their equipment. Those are the two things that I keep hearing farmers, not just people, people on the news or whoever that are so far removed, but actual people on the farms with their hands in the soil talking about fertilizer and diesel. So that's what I'm basing my statement on. Marta says no, it'll drag out. Okay. All right. Linda Bishop says last year during the tariffs, I bought store brand Centrum 50 plus vitamins. So if I didn't have quality food, at least I had the vitamins to go with all the pasta, rice, and beans. That's actually pretty smart. That's pretty smart, Linda, stocking up on vitamins so that you could supplement if you weren't getting all of it from the food. Um, Carolyn says, I think the war, original Mama Grizzly. Hi, original Mama Grizzly. How are you doing? Everyone's saying hello, hello. Hey, Graham, coming from Australia. Oh my goodness. Well, I am thinking I'm saying hello to most everyone. Hey, Denise. Hello, hello. But yeah, I wanted to talk about some of the things that doing to claim my life back. I don't know if you've seen the thumbnail from this video. I'm standing in front of a raft. I have an area. I was down there. I went to lunch with a very dear friend of mine yesterday, Allison, from the YouTube channel Travel Snacks. Allison is just such a lovely person. And we went to lunch yesterday and we were just talking about different things. And afterwards, we went over to, there's a lagoon, and we went to the lagoon and just stood there right on the shores of the bay and just took in the breathtaking views and the air and the clean air. And I'm just doing more of that, and I'm planning to, why I took a picture in front of the raft is I'm planning to get out on the water as much as I can this summer, just out on the water. In fact, I'm going to be going camping, and I'm going to take you along with me, at least for some of it. I'm going camping at the beach, at the ocean. Yes, camping at the ocean. Do you believe that? Oh my goodness, I'm so happy. I am so happy. I've been wanting to go to this particular campsite for a long time, but it's very, very difficult to get in. It opens up. There are in San Diego County, there are some campsites that really are very popular and very hard to get in. A couple of them are in North County. You got Carlsbad Beach and then South Carlsbad State Beach. Then you have Cardiff Beach, State Beach. These are places where you have camping, and it's over on the bluffs overlooking the ocean with steps going down to the beach. And then you have Silver Strand campgrounds that are, within the California State Beach System, and over in Coronado. Beautiful, beautiful campsites, campground. But they open up for reservations 8 months in advance. So if you want a July, you have to go in November, December, January, February, March. You have to book in November to get July, or you have to book in October to get June. And they open up at 8 o'clock, and by 8:10, all of the reservations are gone. They're just totally gone. So I've been trying for a while. And finally, I just gave up. I thought one day, maybe I'll get it. Well, I was on the phone the other day with my goddaughter. We're talking about, I was saying, I really want to go to Catalina for a couple days. And, we were talking about, spending some time in Palm Springs and Big Bear, just some stuff. And I said, but I want to go camping this summer. And she's like, oh, yeah, I've been dying to go camping down in Carlsbad at the beach, at the South Beach. And so she goes, I'm just going to look on there. She goes, but I know, she goes, I've been trying for years to get in. I can never get in because people will have like 10 people go on at one time trying to get the site for a group. 10 people will go on and everyone will be trying because that's how hard it is to get in. We went on there and she was like, there is a site open for 2 days coming up. And I was saying, and I was like, no way, no way. These book up 8 months in advance. She goes, no, no, in a week, it's available. So I said, well, let me go. I was just curious. I said, let me go over and look at it. So I went and I hit it. And then she came back and she goes, oh, it's only saying 1 day now. So I went and I looked, and wherever I looked, it said 2 days. So I said, well, I said, do you want me to see if I can book it? She goes, well, yeah. So I went and got 2 days on the beach. And it's a beautiful, beautiful, the most beautiful sunsets you could ever want to see, and just amazing. So that's going to be coming up. I'm going to take you along. Apparently, we went on there about 2 in the afternoon, and we just happened to hit the exact time that someone clearly went in and did a cancellation. We just happened to be there at the right time, at the right place, on the right day, and got it. I mean, that is like unheard of. I've been trying off and on for years and just finally given up. She'd been trying. So that's one of the things, just doing not big things like going to, you know, Europe, or going, but just going camping at a beautiful place that I've been wanting to go to Yosemite. But a lot of those things, relaxation, enjoying, I love the outdoors. I just love the outdoors. And so going to be taking you along. And I'm going to take you along on some of my interviews too. Um, so that's one of the things. But also, I heard a message in church today. I'm trying to see if I can find my notes. I did take some notes. Proper I didn't have my notebook. I usually carry a notebook with me when I'm at church for the message, but I didn't. But I don't see it. But there's a book, and I've since ordered this book. It's called The One Thing. And I'm going to give you a little brief synopsis of what the book is about. But the pastor was talking about this book, The One Thing. And let me tell you what it says here. This is what the description is. It says, The One Thing by Gary Keller and Jay Papasan is a best-selling book that argues extraordinary results come from focusing on a single most important task rather than multitasking, to cut through clutter and achieve more by doing less. And what the pastor was saying is my pastor was saying how he's been using this, and this concept is, what is the one thing in your life, if you do, that makes everything else okay? Or, it may not make everything go perfect in your life, but what is the one thing that adds such value to your life, that makes the quality of your life, the quality of your relationships, the quality of your experiences? What is the one thing? And he said, focus on that one thing. Let go of the other distractions and focus on that one thing. And that one thing will make everything else in your life better. So I wanted to challenge you today and ask you, what is the one thing in your life, if that is right, if that is on task, what is the one thing that makes everything else in your life okay? Or it improves everything else in your life? So I'm curious to, and I'll tell you later what that one thing is in my life, if I can remember. Um, Original Mama Grizzly says, Lord, preserve our nation. Yes. Yes, we all need to be praying that. Denise says, and hello everyone I missed. Oh, hello everyone. Blue True, hi Blue True. Says, you can only change yourself and how you respond. You have no power over anyone else. That's true. You don't have power over anyone else, but you can set boundaries. And if people are not willing to honor those boundaries, then, like you say, you can change your behavior and remove yourself from being in the presence or being around that person. But you can set them, and then it's up to other people if they want to comply or not comply. But then your action is to take action yourself to change your behavior and not accept it. Vaughn says, Mama Grizzly, amen, sister. Yep, yep. Sheila says, Arizona was stating that about water when I lived there in 1970. I came back in 78. Yeah, Arizona has a serious problem with water. One of the problems, I don't know if this is the main problem, but one of the problems that surfaced a while back is that there weren't limits on water in terms of certain things. And I'll give you an example. A company from the Middle East, I don't know what country it was, they came over and they were growing a certain crop. And it was a crop that they were growing and then sending back to the Middle East to feed their livestock. Well, what they did, and they were well financed, they went and they drilled really, really, really deep. And the crop that they were growing required a lot of water. Well, they drew so much water to grow this crop on this large in this large area that they actually reduced the water level. And a city that was nearby, actually many of the homes there were on wells, and many of those homes could no longer get water because the water, I forget what you call it, the water level, the water table was so lowered that they would have had to maybe, I'm just throwing a figure out. I don't know if this is accurate, but maybe they would have had to dig 1,000. Oh, I got something in my mouth. 1,000 feet in order to get water. Well, whatever it was, most of the people couldn't afford to do it. So a lot of their homes really became worthless because you have a house that has no water because the well, and there was no rule or anything monitoring or putting a cap on how much they could take out, and they lowered the water table. So yeah, that was one of the problems in Arizona. I don't know if they've had laws or changed things or whatever. I don't know, but in many areas of Arizona there is a problem with water, and that's been going on for a long, long time. um Everyone's saying hello to everyone again. Uh, so thank you, Blue True. Blessings to you. Original Grizzly Mama says just pray for rain and for farmers to go back to using manure. Easy fix. Yeah, well, I don't know why they changed. I'm guessing that maybe something in the fertilizer, there are things that are making the crops grow faster. I know that I used to go to a church and someone at the church was sharing a story. They grew up on a chicken ranch or chicken farm, whatever you call it. And they said it used to take so many months to get or however long to get the chickens to the right size so that they could be sent to market. Well, with the new injections that they're doing with chicken and the new stuff that they're giving them, it was reduced and they were getting them out in 6 weeks or less. I mean, it was cutting the time in half. So maybe some of the fertilizer has some of these nutrient or GMO or altered chemicals that make the plants grow faster. I don't know, but maybe some of the fertilizers are modified and altered, and maybe that's why they're not using the manure. It's becoming more and more competitive, all the time. So Denise said, what are we talking about? Well, what I'm just talking about is what is the one thing we're talking about. How I started out as how I'm taking control back of my life, taking my life over, changing my life, and at 73 and taking my life back. And I'm sharing with you some of the ways that I'm doing that. And I'm asking you the one true thing, the one thing that if you got that right, if you got that calibrated just right, if you got it in focus and taken care of in your life, what is that thing that would have an effect over everything else and kind of bring everything else into its proper place. What is your one true thing? Linda says same thing in Texas produce. Uh, Maggie says soybeans and corn country. Yeah. Sheila says bluntly, there's always been the way I thought and believed. Blue True. That's always been the way. Yeah, you can't change anyone else. Hey, Jibos, how are you? Jibo Searcher from North Carolina. Graham says we are surrounded by wheat and canola growers here, and it's planting time. All the farmers are struggling to find enough fuel and fertilizer at the moment. They're also worried about weather, El Nino. Yeah, it's kind of like a perfect storm. You got weather products, weather problems with them predicting El Nino. Then you've got the diesel, and then you've got the fertilizer. It is a perfect storm, and we're going to see how it's going to. You know how they say what rolls downhill, and we're downstream, so we'll see how this is going to impact us. I would I would say one of the impacts would be that canned fruits and vegetables will go up in price. If you can't get fresh produce, people are going to switch over to canned. That would be my guess. What do you guys think? Original uh, Mama Grizzly says we can produce nitrogen from crops. Crops crop rotation is how you do it. I don't know how easy is it to change from one crop to another? And do you need do you need different equipment depending on the crop you're going from one to another? Do you need different equipment? Do you need, some crops need different climate. Like if you're growing grapes, you can't just grow grapes anywhere, so I don't know. I don't know. I'm not a farmer, so I don't know the answer to these things. Hi, Maria. Hello, hello. Vaughn says, Mama Grizzly, I wonder how much farmland is owned by other countries in the U.S. That is a question, and that's something that supposedly was going to be something put a stop to. But here's the other thing. I wonder how much farmland is owned by a few very, very, very wealthy people. Did you know that based on reports, I don't know if it's accurate, but I've seen it several places that Bill Gates is the single largest owner of farmland in America. But let me see how much what percentage of farmland in America is owned by foreign interest? Let's see. Foreign interests own approximately 3.6 of privately held agricultural land in the United States, which equates to approximately 48.8 million acres. Wow, that's a lot. The top owners are Canadian investors who own about 31 to 31%. Despite significant political scrutiny, China entities own less than 1%. I would say, in my opinion, that we may want to look at reducing and, how much land we allow foreign interests, especially farmland, land that we need to produce food for our own citizens. And I would say also that there should be some limit on how much produce can be grown here and then shipped out to other countries. Just my opinion. Let me know what you guys think. But hey Don, my brother Donald's in the house. Hey, he's doing better and better every day. I'm so proud of all the work he's putting in to recover, but he is doing good. Original Mama Grizzly says El Nino is now happening. Yeah, that's what I hear. Um, we do not need China's crap. Well, unfortunately, original Grizzly Mama Grizzly, um, we have allowed a lot of our manufacturing to go out of the country. And in fact, Taiwan is the major producer, based on my research, of these chips that go into different electronic components. And if China takes over Taiwan, which I'm predicting is going to happen, maybe not this year, maybe not next year, but I think it's going to happen within the next, I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to say I think it's going to happen within the next 3 to 4 years, or at least they're going to make an effort to do it, a military effort within the next 3 or 4 years. We're going to be up a creek. So if you go through certain areas in the east, on the eastern part of this country, you'll see so many shut down factories and warehouses and manufacturing plants. So until something is done to stimulate that, we're in, I mean, I don't know about you, but I like having a cell phone. I like having my laptop that I do my lives on. I like having a television. I like having these electronic devices. I like having a car. I wish my car didn't have all this electronic stuff. I wish the only thing I want electronic in my would really want would be the power windows. I wish we didn't have to have all that other stuff, but the fact is that they're going more and more to it. I don't know if you can even buy a car now that has a regular key that doesn't have a push button that starts. I don't know if you can even buy a new car that doesn't have that. So, and I know I was looking at Toyota Siennas, not that I'm going to buy a new one because they're like 45 to $50,000. So I'm not looking at that. But they were saying that all of them are hybrids. All of the Toyota Siennas are hybrids now. The new one's coming out. So I don't know, but I say all this around the bin to say that unfortunately we do need a lot of the products that are coming out of Taiwan, China, and other areas, and that's a problem. And we need to lessen our dependency and increase our manufacturing so we're producing the things that we critically need at home. I agree. I would agree with that. Um, Sheila says, "Hi, Don Miller. Glad to hear that you are doing better." Me too, Sheila. Thank you. You don't know how happy I am. Everyone's saying hello to Don. Vaughn saying hello. Miss Net saying hello. Maggie says, "I'm far from an expert. Clearly, no one in the comments has a clue about farming." No, I don't have a clue about farming. I am the first to admit that. But I have heard from multiple farmers who have been interviewed about their fear about the cost and availability of fertilizer and the cost of diesel. Those are two things that are reoccurring themes that farmers keep talking about. So I have to believe that there's something to it, just based on the fact that it's coming up in almost every interview that I'm seeing with farmers. Um, Original Mama Grizzly says, "I know I live and grew up in rural America." Yeah. Sylvie, hello, Sylvie. Hello, hello. Uh Original Mama Grizzly says, "Not true, Maggie." Okay. Uh Vaughn says, "Maggie set it straight." Oh my goodness. Maggie says, "I have a farmer in the family. Energy is a big cost for farmers." Actually, I had my grandfather was a farmer. So I did visit him and I do know a little bit something about farming. I'm not an expert. I don't know very much. I was a kid when I went there, but I do know that the cost of diesel has had a tremendous impact. Um, Original Mama Grizzly says, "Good question regarding land ownership, Vaughn." Um, uh, Linda says, "My county in Texas about 2 years ago quietly made it so other countries can't buy land and take out water after Saudi Arabia did that. They drill it out and strip it there." I have to agree with that. You know, I don't know. You can call it protectionism, you can call it whatever you want, but I believe we need to take care of our own first. I'm not saying don't help other people, but I'm saying, first of all, let me just say this, and maybe I will sound selfish. And if I do, on this, I don't really care. I'm not going to feed someone else before I feed my own child. That's my philosophy. Now, if I can feed my own child and am able to feed other people, I will do that. but I'm not going to let my own child. It's a sad baker whose own children go begging bread. That's my philosophy, and I expand that to our country. It's just how I think, and I'm not going to apologize for it. Um, uh, Muskegee Land says stock up as much as possible. Yeah, I think we do. You know. Nora says now I know who not to believe. Yeah, it's who. It's yeah, true. True, 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 Nora. Original Mama Grizzly says the war will end. They just need to be decisive. Iran will become Christian. It is in prophecy. I don't know if that's going to happen in my lifetime. I don't know that that will happen in my lifetime, but we'll see. Um, Sandra says, "You look great, Maggie. I'm 62 and need to move. Change is scary." Sandra is saying, "Yeah." Um, uh, Thank you, Sandra. Uh, yeah, change is scary, but often necessary. Often necessary. I'm still trying to find if someone's answered the question is what's the one true thing that will impact your life for the better if you focus on it. Vaughn says, well, as far as water goes, we're supposed to be getting a super El Nino, a lot of rain this winter. So we pray. Yeah, I pray that that is what happens because so many states are fighting over the limited water from the Colorado River. I mean, it's a battle. It's really a battle. Graham says they are talking about the coming El Nino to be the largest on record. We could be in for a record heat wave for the next couple summers. It doesn't sound like much fun. Whew. When I think heat wave, I think fires. And when I think fires, I think people displaced and insurance going out of sight so people can no longer afford their homes. So I pray that that doesn't happen, Graham. Um, Catherine says stock up on vitamins and etc. and meds too. Yeah, that would be a good thing too. Yeah. Uh, Original Mama says, "Doing good, Carol. Hugs to you. Thank you. Good. I hope you're doing good too, Mama Grizzly." Maggie says, "Vitamins worry me too. It takes a whole lot of supplements. Don't take any. Don't take any meds." Well, yeah, you have to take some meds. I have to take meds for my blood pressure, and I know people who decided to cold turkey stop meds, including one person who went off their blood pressure meds and they are no longer here with me. So I'm not going to do that. I know some people who, so no, I don't advocate going off necessary meds that are life sustaining. I have to disagree with, I have to, you may not take any meds because I hope you don't, maybe if you don't have to, that's great. But I don't advocate people not taking their meds. Billy says the fresh produce here in our grocery store doesn't last long in fridge or in the pantry. It is going bad fast. Yeah, I when I look in some of the grocery stores on the East Coast now here, beautiful, and there we have a lot of farmers markets here. We have a lot of farmers markets where people bring in their produce, and I mean, there's an abundance. I wonder if that's going to continue being the same thing as we go through this summer. So I'm gonna take you. If you guys want me, I'll take you along on a farmer's market, and we'll see what the produce looks like and how much it is. We'll see that if you guys want me to do that. Um, Denise says, "Do you live in Florida?" No, I live in California. Lily Cat says Biden put a ban on cyanide bombs on public lands. Well, Trump canceled the ban. Look into it. Okay, I will look into that. Huh. On cyanide bombs. I don't know about cyanide bombs, but I'll check into it. Thank you for that. Let me make a I like to stay informed, so let me look at that. Um uh okay. You guys are giving me some good Catherine says, Maggie, I put OTC meds, but autocorrect changed it. Oh, okay. Billy says no, she's in Southern Illinois, and Denise is in Illinois. I know, original Grizzly Mama. I'm whew, going camping on the beach. Oh, I can hardly wait. I'm going to take you guys along because my goddaughter's going to be doing a cookout soon. And so she's going to do enough cooking so we'll have some leftovers for the camping. So, oh, I can hardly, yeah, camping at the ocean. Oh, my goodness. Sheila says, Carol, you know that I took my life back last Memorial Day weekend. It's been 14 months with 2 surgery. It's getting better, but still a lot of work. That's the least of issues anymore. Yeah, you did start working on really, really taking your life back, Sheila. Absolutely. And I'm proud of you. You've made progress, and really, it's not been easy, but you've been doing it, Sheila. You really have. Vaughn says, Billy Clover, I bought some of those green bags that extend fruit and veggies for longer. Like them. Oh, really? Where did you get them, Vaughn? Because I would like to check into that to extend the life in the refrigerator longer. So where did you get them? And so you're saying they really work? Okay. Original Grizzly Mom says love Silver Strand. Yes, yes, yes. I want to try and get in there, but it may not be till the beginning of October after the summer season. But I can keep checking for cancellations. But I am looking so forward. I'm so excited about camping on the beach. I'm so now we're actually in a cliff right over looking down on the beach, and you just walk down the steps to the beach. But in Pismo Beach, I don't know if you still can, but last time I was in Pismo Beach, which is in Central California, you could drive right onto the beach and you could camp in your vehicle further back, of course, so the tide doesn't wash you out. But you could camp right on the beach. So I don't know if you still can. I'll look into that and see. But now the other problem was you had to have the right tires because otherwise people were getting stuck. It's like $400 or $500 for them to tow you off the beach, and I did not want that to happen. Um, Sheila says it's always been like that here on the East Coast. Oh, really? I didn't know that. Blue Drew says, Blue Drew, sorry, says God's continued best health to you always. Thank you, thank you. Uh, hey, Tiger Bat, hello. Says, yes, I have requested off work June 15th for Yosemite Campground. It's hard getting in. It is. It is very hard getting into Yosemite in the summer. Just it's hard. I don't know which is harder, the beach in San Diego County or Yosemite. I would imagine they're both in the summer. I imagine they're both equally hard. Uh Muskegee Line says stay in Cali and go camping. Well, that's what I'm gonna do. Some of that I am. Miss Net says Vaughn's. Can you tell a big difference? I've been thinking about trying them. Yeah, she said she saw that they work. They work, Miss Net. What beach? South Carlsbad State Beach. South Carlsbad. Yeah, it's called South Carlsbad State Beach. It's. I'm gonna show. I'm gonna. And guess what? Guess what? You can bring your dogs. The dogs can't go on the beach, but they can be in your campsite as long as they're on leashes. So I'm gonna try and bring Mowgli and Cuddles. I don't know how that's going to work, but I'll let you know. I'll let you know how it works out. Uh, Billy says cantaloupe bought was bad when I got it home and opened it. Oh my goodness. It was already bad and odor was offensive. That's terrible. Don't you hate that? Don't you hate getting something and getting it home and it's no good? Oh my goodness. Um Took it back to the store and I was told a lot were bringing back. Wow. Well, I remember when I was growing up, there were people who used to come by our house with trucks loaded down with melons and mostly watermelons, but they had this little thing and they put it in and they take a plug out of the melon and then you could taste it and see if it was sweet and good. And then you say, yeah, I'll take that one. I always used to wonder, what did they do with the ones that they plugged and people didn't want? But I guess they were pretty confident because they would anyone else used to have them take plugs out of the watermelon and let you sample them. Oh, I tell you, so many things have changed, haven't they? Oh my goodness. Uh Original Grizzly Mom says, woohoo, good. God heard your prayer. He did. He did. At the most unexpected time. Uh Vaughn says, Miss Net, I have noticed some important some improvement, but I eat my food pretty quick though. Okay, so some improvement. Some improvement. Okay. Muskegee Land says easy answer, God. That is an easy answer. You're so right, Muskegee Land. Vaughn says, I need laughter in my life. Do you know there is a book called Love, Medicine, and Miracles? And they found that people who sat and watched funny comedies when they were sick, their levels improved if they just sat and watched and laughed and laughed and laughed. I mean, genuine laugh, not fake laugh, but genuinely from the belly laugh. They their prognosis improved. They did better. Laughter actually physically changed the chemistry of their body rather. It's a book called Love, Medicine, and Miracles by Bernie Siegel. Is that crazy or what? But true. Original Mama Grizzly is saying, Amen, Muskegee. Nora says, my artwork and friendships. It's so great you have something that you love doing, Nora, and you can do all the time. And friendships, yes. Friendships are so valuable. Friends are there with you through thick and thin that you know are just a phone call away. Uh, Maria says, the fact that my home is paid for completely. I bet that is, I bet that impacts every area. Yes. My pets, my doggies, and my kitty. Yeah. Our pets really are part of our family. Graham says, June 15th is my birthday. I'll be turning 46. I've never been that good at math, though. Well, happy birthday coming up, Graham. Original Mama Grizzly says, true, a merry heart doth good like medicine. It does. It really does. And that was proven. It was proven in the studies done and shared. I think they shared the studies in Love, Medicine, and Miracles, but he shared how the laughter really helped people's health. Um, uh, amen, glorious life on wheels. Uh, Original Grace in the Amount, for me, prayer and worship, they go together. Yes, they do. And I would add something to that, Original Grizzly Mama. Prayer, worship, and a spirit of gratitude, of being thankful. And I'll share with you what my one thing is if I tune into the Holy Spirit and God every day, start my day, and if I have that going on in my life, everything else comes into focus because the pastor this week was talking about asking the Holy Spirit to come into your life, to be over your life, to be a part of your life, to be a daily presence in your life. And I think for me, having the Holy Spirit, bringing the Holy Spirit to guide me and letting me know, no, don't do this. Yes, do this. Oh, this is a good decision. This is a bad decision. And seeking out that guidance. If I do that one thing, that makes everything else fall into place. For me, that's my one thing. And then there are other things that, like, friendships, um having supportive friends, having the people that I care about, my brother, my daughter, my family, having them doing good and healthy, that makes a huge difference. um Speaking of which, I'm going to have to get off the phone because they're having a barbecue at my brother's house up in the Bay Area, which I couldn't make today, but they have a Zoom. So I think they're still having the Zoom. I don't know if they're still having it or not. I'll have to see. Maggie said they destroyed the apple orchards in Wilcox, Arizona. Well, that's sad to hear. Oh my goodness. Blue True says, enjoy your blessed, healthy, fun holiday weekend. Yes, an awesome chat. All right. Well, folks, it is time for me to get off of here. It is 4:11. Oh my goodness, time goes. Uh it was, Marty says it was alfalfa for Saudi Arabia. Okay, all right. Thank you, Martin. I knew, yeah, that rings a bell now. So he says water is becoming a real problem and now we are competing with AI in water consumption. Or we're, yeah, water isn't becoming a problem. It's been a problem. It's just getting a lot worse. Original Mama Grizzly says we have a well close by us, only 55-foot deep and flows constantly since 46. Wow, you are lucky. You are very lucky. Donald says 6 weeks now. 6 weeks. Oh, since he had that crisis, 6 weeks, and he is, oh my goodness. Oh, I'm so happy and I hope to see him in a not too distant future. Uh, G. Bosurger says that water table issue happened to my parents. Wow. Wow, that must have been scary. Maria said, so sad. That's why I'm a vegetarian. Yeah, and it takes a lot of water to produce beef, a lot, a lot, a lot. Catherine says, we're all getting too old and age really to put up with nonsense. Absolutely. I agree, Catherine. I just don't put up with a lot of nonsense anymore. My one thing is love, says Sylvie. Well, that's good. If you don't have any love in your life, that's a problem. Catherine says there is a meat shortage too, I heard. I wouldn't be surprised, Catherine. I would not be surprised. Denise says, I'm asking the owner of the channel you mentioned, the ocean. Do you live in California or Florida? I live in California. I live in California, Denise, in Southern California. Um, uh, Vaughn says, Catherine, at least the real meat, not touching the lab created stuff. Oh, no. Ooh. No, I don't want any lab stuff. No, thank you. No, thank you. No, thank you. Jibo Searcher says, my kids used to ride horses. Part of that chore was to muck out the stalls. All the manure went into the manure pile to compost. Gardeners would come get the seasoned manure for their gardens. Wow. Yeah, I don't know about people doing that anymore. I don't know. Oh, hi, Nan Shix. I didn't see Nan. Hello, Nan. Martin says, you can only rotate crops so many times before you deplete the soil. Oh, okay. Sylvie says China owns a lot. Well, according to what I just looked up, they own, was it 1%? 1% or 3%. But that's still, according to that, over 48 million acres. So that's a lot. Jibo Searcher, now farmland, especially close to military bases. I know they own farmland. I don't know how much, but I have heard, I did see a report that said that they had bought it, that a lot of the farmland that they purchased was near to military bases. I did see that report, Jibo Searcher. I did. Um, uh, uh, Mama Grizzly said rotating isn't hard, but someone else said you can only do it so many times. I don't know as far as crops. I'm not a farmer. Uh, Yeah, Vaughn said yes, that's a concern on both levels. Denise says China is buying up farmlands near. Yeah, that's what I've heard too. Um, Vaughn says Mama Grizzly, but let the soil rest takes years, which is probably complicating things. Yeah, I think you can't just keep doing it over and over. You have to let it rest and recover in between. I think, but I'm not an expert. I'm going to tell you the first thing I'm not. Liddell says, Sheila, I know exactly what you mean. Yes, I still have a lot of limitations, but I'm in a much better place now. I pray you will have real improvement in your future. You are a precious person. What a nice thing and loving thing to say, Liddell. Thank you. Thank you for that. And I hope that you will have a lot of improvement also in your future, Liddell, because you are a precious person too. Graham says China owns a lot of land in Australia as well, although they won't allow outsiders to own land in China. Yeah, it doesn't make much sense to me. If you have a rule that other countries can't own land in your country, why should you be able to own land in other countries? It should be reciprocal. I mean, that's just what I feel, but I don't know, you know. Yeah, that's true too. Buying up residential and buying up a lot of iconic buildings that are part of our American history. That's my concern too. Um I didn't know that China basically owns Smithville Pork Productions. I know that they do own some meat packing interest, but I didn't know that they basically own. I don't know. I'd have to do research on that. But I really want to know about who. What is your one thing? We've said God. We said laughter. We said artwork. Is there anything else that anyone wanted to share before before I go, because I've got to get out of here and go take care of some things and pick up Jess. So oh, I remember, yeah, Denise, I remember the government cheese. Oh my gosh. Sometimes we'd get that as a kid, and our neighbors would get that and share it with us, and it was so, oh my god. I've never tasted cheese that good since those days. I don't know what they do different now, but it's not the same. The cheese you get in the grocery store is not that good. Uh Sharon says for food, start eating the wild edibles in the area. Great healthy plants you can eat. Yeah, I'm not that knowledgeable, so I don't want to eat something that's going to poison me because I, you know, I'm not that knowledgeable. For someone who's knowledgeable, that would be a great thing to do, Sharon. A great thing, but I am not that knowledgeable. All right. Anyone else have a one thing that they do? I know I'm skipping a lot, but I'm trying to. Yes, Denise, charity does begin at home. I agree. I'm trying to see anyone. Maggie says, my nephew is 76 and got tossed by a bull last year farming. It's dangerous, hard work. It is dangerous and it's hard work. And you're at the mercy of the elements and the weather. And, one bad season can wipe you out. You have to really be dedicated to be a farmer. You really do. Billy Clover says, peace. Peace would be what would be absolutely. I agree. All right. Oh yeah, I do. Muskegee land, I plan on having a large garden area in the tiny home village. That's one of the absolutes that needs to be there, is a garden area that will produce fruit and or produce for will grow produce for people who live there. And maybe if we have enough sell, I don't know, but definitely want to grow produce for people there. All right. Hello, Eve. Hello, hello. Oh yeah, we grew up on day-o bread too, Miss Net. We absolutely did grow up on day-o bread. Uh Nancy says the one thing that will impact my life for the better is if American citizens all have health care available to them without depleting their funds. Amen. Medical costs are one of the single largest factors impacting bankruptcy among seniors. Just listen to that. So you get to be a senior when you have more health problems and you have less ability to pay for it, and you end up living your whole life being a productive citizen, working your whole life, and then ending up bankrupt because you have to pay for medical bills. That's just a crime. That's a crime against humanity. And on that note, I am going to leave because I know I have a lot of people who have some great comments. And if you want to talk anything more next week about what the one thing is that really, if you get it in order, will make everything else in your life fall into place, we can continue this next week. Anyhow, if you have a channel and you want me to call you out, put a C real quick because I got to get out of here. And if it's your first time in the house, put a number 1 so so I can acknowledge you. Let me know real quick. I'm waiting. I know I've missed a lot of great comments, but I've got to get out of here and pick up my kid. All right. Well, I don't see any C's. I don't see any ones. So I love each and every one of you. I will see you next Saturday. And if you have some topics you want me to look up and do some research, I love researching. That's part of what one of my jobs was. So I love researching and finding out information and bringing valuable information to you that you can use and that can help you make decisions that will better guide you as to what to do to make your life better. So, love you. May your journeys be filled with joy and blessings, and I will see you next week. All right, folks, I'm getting out of here. Let me try and sign out. Leaving studio. I always have a problem leaving.